This right here is Xiaomi's new gaming monitor. It's the Mi Fast 165Hz gaming monitor that does have a 24.5-inch size to it, full HD resolution, a gray to gray 2 millisecond response time. That is their claim. Their other claims are 400 nits peak brightness, HDR 400 support, and G-Sync support. So is this IPS gaming monitor one to look at? Well, I'll find out in this review, and I'll let you know all the pros and cons in my now 3 days of testing this gaming monitor out. It comes well packaged up. We have an instruction manual right here and an HDMI cable. We have the stand and the base. Our power supply here, this one is rated to 36 watts, so it doesn't need a lot of power, this monitor. Now, like the stand I just showed you, the base here is made out of alloy. It has a matte grey finish to it and true rubber feet there at the bottom to stop it from slipping around. So you simply need to just place this here, and it slots in only one direction, and then screw it into place. And in every box you will find this, which is the Mi Monitor Color Calibration Factory Report. And this basically outlines the calibration which they've done in the factory, which is good to see. Not a lot of manufacturers do this, but the best ones will, of course. Factory calibration is really good to have. And then you can see there that the measurement condition was the gamma curve of 2.2, color temperature of 6500 K, and it was in the sRGB mode. So to get the factory calibration, you do need to set it in the smart modes then to sRGB. Okay, so 24.5 inches, 165 Hertz, NVIDIA G-Sync support with this. Very slim bezels, top left and right. There is a bit of a bezel here, a chin on it, which is kind of normal, but it's a sleek, nice looking design for a gaming monitor, and it doesn't scream gaming monitor to me at all. I mean, there's no gamer bling, there's no different colors, there's no glowing red, there's no RGB on it, so we're not getting those extra frames per second from the RGB here. Now, the adjustments of this one, up and down, so it can go right down nice and low, and you can put it up nice and high there. We've got tilt, you can use it left and right here, and you can even rotate it right around. So it does cover everything there when it comes to where we can move this about with the stand here. So you can use it in portrait mode there like that in portrait, but of course most people will be using it in landscape. But at least we do have that option there. Now the stand, is it sturdy? It does seem sturdy. It's a nice thin base that they've gone with, metal, and overall a very good finish. So really typical Xiaomi build quality and finish with this one. Now there is a little bit of cable management that they do have. So the flap on the back here, that has magnets that is holding it into place. So right here, when you plug in your HDMI cable, the power, you simply clip that back and the magnets will hold it into place. And that keeps everything nice and simple out of the way. There's also a hole right here in the stand, so you can put the power cable through this and the HDMI cable if you wanted to push it down on a desk just to make things a little bit tidier. So it's a very nice touch here. And again, no RGB, no screaming, glowing logos or anything like that is something I really do like with this gaming monitor. And the inputs from right to left, so audio out with this one, so it does not have any built-in speakers. We've got a display port, that's 1.3, HDMI 2, two of them, which is HDMI 2.0A, and then DC in, of course, to power it. As mentioned, it's a 36-watt adapter. Now for controlling the on-screen display here, we do have these 4 buttons and our power key, which acts as the OK button here. So that's to go through the menus, and I'll show you that on-screen display setup now. So tapping here, you can bring up then all the different menu options. We've got settings, so language is the one you need to change over. Originally it's in Chinese, of course. Input source, self-explanatory. Smart modes, this is only changing just the color mode really of the screen. That's all it is, okay? So low blue light, sRGB, movie, game, echo, and standard. I do test it in sRGB mode, which is the one that they've calibrated from the factory. Pro functions, so this is interesting because we have adaptive sync that we can turn on. So if you needed that, you're able to turn that on. And I've tested this on and off, just trying to test out G-Sync, if I could get it to work, and the high refresh rates, which I haven't had any luck with, which I'll talk about soon. And then brightness, of course, we do have under here. Response times, you can set it onto ultra, maximum, normal. And I just get out of this, and I wanted to show you too, in the Pro Functions, there is another handy little feature in here, which is aiming sight. I've seen this before in other gaming monitors. So if you play a lot of, say, Counter-Strike, this is a handy one to have, or any other, well, first-person shooters. Very good to have that option there. And what else do we have right here? So just a couple of options. So I don't want to go into this color mode, sorry. I'll get out of that, keep it in sRGB. And You get used to using it, but it is a little bit tricky at times. So brightness is there, okay, and response time, sharpness, display. I can't change this one right now because I have it set in the sRGB mode and the ultra response time. As I mentioned at the start, the screen has 165 Hz. It's IPS tech, full HD resolution, so 1920 by 1080. Now, I would have preferred 1440p, so 2560 by 1440p would have looked better on the screen. At 24.5 inches, I can see the pixels of text quite a bit if you look at it really close. And I've just zoomed in now just to show you what I mean there, that you can make out those individual pixels when looking close at this. That's why I think a high resolution would have been a little bit better with this screen here. If they could achieve maybe 120 Hz or 144 Hz, that would have been fine there. So maximum brightness, manufacturer's claim is 400 nits. And the color gamut and coverage, I'm going to measure now, but before I do that, I just wanted to show you what the blacks look like on this screen. And here you can see them. So what I will do is just adjust a little bit here, the aperture of my camera, just to increase the brightness to show you the light leakage. So down in this area, there is a little bit. There is some on the side present, and overall the blacks are going to look more like dark gray. This is not an OLED screen, so not super deep, the blacks you get with this particular monitor here. Now, what looks like light leakage or bleeding on the right-hand side, just along here, that actually isn't. That's my lighting that's doing that. Now, the coating over this is anti-glare, and so it's a matte coating, and that definitely works out well for a gaming monitor. And these are the results. So for a gaming monitor, well, 95% sRGB, they claim it's 100%, so slightly under, but not really too much of a problem there. NTSC is 67% on the low side. Adobe RGB, 72%. For a gaming monitor, that's actually okay. P3 of 71% color gamut coverage. Now I did measure the brightness with this, and it's disappointing. 280 nits only. I was expecting 350 to 400. Well, 400 is their claim, and it falls well short of that. All right, so here we have a 165 Hz our refresh rate with this. Now, I did have a bit of a problem getting this 165 Hz. A lot of the times with my RTX 3070 and the 3080 that I also do own, it didn't want to run at 165 Hz, and I would find myself stuck at 120 Hz. Now what I did to fix this was I reset the monitor through the on-screen display settings there and did the reset of the monitor, and now it did actually work there. But there is still one thing that I cannot get to work no matter what PC I try, what graphics card I try, and that is when you go into the NVIDIA control panel, you'll see here when I bring it up, refresh rate's fine, but where is my setting that would normally be listed in here for G-Sync? Now, with my LG CX, that's a 4K 120 Hz screen that supports G-Sync. I would get a setting that would show in here would be NVIDIA G-Sync. You can turn it on, you can force it on in desktop mode as well, or disable it if you didn't want to use it. So G-Sync support with my RTX 3070 and RTX 3080 just doesn't seem to be present at the time of this video. Perhaps it's an issue with my model, perhaps early versions of it. If I do find something out about that, I'll let you know in the comments of this video. And of course, a little bit of a gaming test here. So I'm running at 165 Hz, the screen, and the frame rate is getting up around close to that, so we're able to achieve that. Now, when I look around really quick, I do notice that sometimes it looks like the response time of the screen, well, they claim gray to gray is 2 milliseconds, but I do sometimes see like it's almost playing like a bit of a catch-up when I look very, very quick here. Of course, I'm only recording at 30 frames per second 4K, so you're not going to be able to pick up on that, but I am seeing a little bit of something here. Still though, very enjoyable to be playing this at the 165 Hz, getting a frame rate that's close to that, well over 100, and in some areas of the map here with my RTX 3070, with the high settings, I am getting over the 165. Oops, guy's almost crashing into me. So yes, it is good for gaming. It's just the lack of G-Sync, and I really wish it was a lot brighter. That is disappointing for me. Okay, so final words on this one. The pricing is what really puts me off. So 300 euros, about that, approximately. Compare that to what you get locally from brands like, say, Acer, Asus, or Samsung. About 100 euros cheaper for a very, very similar spec. 145 or 165 refresh rate on it, and probably brighter screen than this one. So I do like the design. That is one of the best things about it. The design, the build quality is typical Xiaomi. Very, very good. It's excellent. The panel quality from the IPS, as I pointed out, I think it's okay. The color gamut, the coverage for a gamer screen isn't too bad. Now, response times, unfortunately, I don't have the professional equipment to monitor and give you the exact response time with this. But to my eyes, it doesn't look like 2 milliseconds. I mean, that's great to grade 2 milliseconds, but I don't think it is, okay? I've just got a hunch that it actually isn't able to achieve that. It just seems sometimes in some of these games, when I look around and things, it doesn't quite seem as good as you would think it would be. The same for that brightness. Now, I went through all the different settings because I was adamant that it was my fault that I'm not able to achieve anywhere near the claimed 400 nits of brightness. So 280 only, standard mode, eco mode, sRGB mode, gamer mode, all of the different modes I went through, and I set the brightness through the controls to 100%, of course, and that was it. 280 nits. It's okay for indoors. I've got it turned right down at the moment too, by the way, so it's not overexposed. Not great. Now, I had trouble getting 165 Hz refresh rate. I had to go through 2 different RTX cards. NVIDIA drivers, I went through quite a few different versions. I was starting to go a little bit crazy. And then I did a factory reset on the monitor. I got the 165 Hz after basically a whole day of messing about with it. So yes, you can get the 165, which is good, which is claimed. But those 2 RTX cards, I was unable to achieve or enable or see anything to do with G-Sync, okay? Now, I've used the same cable I use on a G-Sync TV, which is my LG CX. It supports 4K 120 Hz G-Sync with the cable, with the same graphics cards that I used on this monitor, no G-Sync. So something's really up with this. Maybe I've got a faulty unit, I don't know, but hey, it's not working for me, and that's just it. A fact's a fact. So really, a disappointing display. I think if you can get it for a really good price, yeah, okay. If Xiaomi can fix the brightness, fix the G-Sync support, I think then it might be good. And of course, get that price right down, because right now it's about 100 euros, 120 US or so overpriced currently. So there you go. Now you know the full story here of Xiaomi's 24.5-inch IPS Full HD 165 Hz gaming monitor with HDR400 support, NVIDIA support, which, well, G-Sync doesn't seem to be working, and 400 nits, which you cannot achieve, or at least not my unit right here.